All right, guys, this is section 11.8, and we're going to talk about spheres, and this is the last section in chapter 8. So after this, it'll just be a review and then test. So the one vocabulary we have is the great circle, and the great circle is just the intersection of a sphere and a plane. Remember, a plane is like a flat surface that you cut through, such that the plane contains the center of the sphere. So like this here would be a great circle, or this here, as long as when you cut through, it has the center, it'd be a great circle. So think of like the equator would be a great circle. That's when you hear that word a lot, is when you talk about the equator. All right, so we're going to do volumes and surface area of spheres, and in my opinion, spheres are the easiest shapes to do as long as you know the formulas, because all you need to know is the radius. That's it. And so the volume formula is 4/3 pi r cubed. All right, so let's look at example 1 here. It says find the volume of this soccer ball. Okay, so volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, well, my radius it gives us is 4.5. So volume equals 4/3 pi times 4.5 cubed. And if you put everything except pi in your calculator, you get 121.5. So it'd be 121.5 inches cubed. Or if you go ahead and put pi in your calculator, that's roughly 381.7 inches, cubed. Okay, so this would be exact, this would be rounded. All right, so here's example 2a. So this is the same as what we had before, so I want you to go ahead and do this one, find exact and find estimated, and it tells you that the radius is 5. All right, so when you plug your 5 in for your r, you get 4/3 pi times 125. You reduce that, you get 500 over 3 pi yards cubed. That would be exact, or roughly 523.6 yards cubed. All right, so let's look at example 2b together. Okay, it tells us the diameter of a sphere is 36. So if the diameter is 36, the radius is half that, or 36 divided by 2, which is 18. Okay, and now that we have our radius, we can just do volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. And if I put 18 in for r, I get 4/3 pi 18 cubed. And 18 cubed is a really big number. 4/3 pi times 5832. Okay, and then when I put that in my calculator, I get 7776 pi, and that'd be inches cubed. Or if I put pi in my calculator, 24,429 roughly inches cubed. Okay, so here's exact, here's rounded. All right, guys, so I goofed a little bit here. 2C should have been after we introduced the surface area formula. So we're going to look at this surface area formula first. Okay, so the surface area is 4 pi r squared. So if we're going to paint the outside of the sphere, how much we paint would be 4 pi r squared. Okay, so now let's go back to example 2C. Okay, it tells us the surface area is 576. Find the volume. All right, so we have two formulas. We have the volume formula is 4/3 pi r cubed, and we have surface area equals 4 pi r squared. Okay, now remember, to find the volume, all I need is the radius. So I can use the surface area of the sphere is 576, plug it into the surface area formula, and solve for r, and then when I have that, I can find the volume. So that's what I'm going to do. So the surface area is 576, so I'm going to plug that right in here. So 576 equals 4 pi r squared. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is divide by 4. 576 divided by 4 gives me 144 equals pi r squared. Divide by pi, divide by pi. I get 144 over pi equals r squared. To undo a square, you square root it. So 12, well, this is the same thing as square root of 144 over square root of pi. 144 is 12 over square root of pi. I'm just going to go ahead and put that in my calculator, guys. And I get that the radius is roughly 6.77. Okay, so now that I know the radius, I can plug it into the volume formula. 4/3 pi, 6.77 cubed. When I plug that into my calculator, I get very close. I'm going to go ahead and round this up a little bit to 1,300. And that is centimeters squared because we're talking about, centimeters cubed because it's talking about volume. All right, let's look at example 3a here. It says find the surface area of the sphere. So once again, my radius is 8. That's all I need. Surface area is 4 pi r squared. So 4 pi times 8 squared. 4 pi, 8 squared is 64. 64 times 4 is 256 pi, and that would be inches squared because we're talking about surface area. Okay, let's look at example 3b now. It says find the surface area of the sphere, and it gives that our circumference is 12 pi. So the circumference of a circle is 2 pi r. So once again, to find the surface area or the volume, all I need is my radius. So I have to find my radius. So I'm going to use the circumference to find my radius, okay? So my circumference is 12 pi, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in for my circumference. So 12 pi equals 2 pi r. So if I divide by 2 pi, divide by 2 pi, that and that goes away. My 12 over 2 goes to 6, pi over pi goes to 1, so my radius has to be 6. Okay, now after I have my radius, I can just plug it in. So surface area equals 4 pi r squared. I plug my 6 in for r, so 4 pi times 6 squared. 4 pi times 36. I get roughly 144 pi, and that is feet squared. All right, let's look at example 4a here. So it says the surface area of a sphere is 324. Okay, so 324 has to equal 4 pi r squared. We want to find the volume. So when I say find the volume, that means that I need to first find my radius. Okay, so I can use the surface area to find my radius. So divide by 4, divide by 4. I get 81 equals pi r squared. Divide by pi, divide by pi. I get roughly 25.78 equals r squared. Undo a square, you square root it. And you get that r is roughly, depending on how you round, I'm going to put 5.1. Okay, so now that I have my radius, I can find my volume. Volume is 4/3 pi, 5.1 cubed. And I'm just going to plug this into my calculator to get rounded 555.6, and that'd be centimeters cubed because we're talking about volume. All right, let's look at example 4b now. Here we want to find the diameter. Okay, well, guys, if I have my radius, I can just double it, and there's my diameter. So I'm going to use what they give me. They give me surface area. So I'm going to get what I know about surface area and find my radius. So my surface area is 20.25 pi. So I'm going to plug that right in there for my surface area. So 20.25 pi equals 4 pi r squared. Okay, well, I'm going to divide this by pi first, because when I do that, that's easy because they just cancel each other out. So I'm left with 20.25 equals 4r squared. Divide by 4, divide by 4. I get 5.0625 equals r squared. To undo a square, we take the square root, which gives me my radius, 2.25. Okay, if my radius is 2.25, my diameter has to be 2 times that. So my diameter has to be 4.5, and that would be centimeters. All right, I want you to go ahead and do A, B, and C on your own, and then we'll go over each of them. All right, so let's go over these. On A, the first thing I need to do, it gives me the diameter. I need to half that to get my radius. So I get my radius is 20. And after I have my radius is 20, I just plug that in for my 4 pi r squared, so 4 pi times 20 squared. And exact, you get 1,600 pi feet squared, or if you round it, you get roughly 5026.5 feet squared for the surface area. All right, on B, we use our circumference to find our radius, and then we have to find our surface area. So if I set 6 pi equals to 2 pi r, I find out that my radius is 3. And then after I know my radius is 3, I can plug that into 4 pi times 3 squared to get 36 pi feet squared for my area. Lastly, to find the radius of this, I know my surface area is 30 pi, so I just plug that in right here. 30 pi equals 4 pi r squared, and do a little math, and I should have got the radius is roughly 2.74 meters.